For the last couple of years, enterprise tech has felt like a bit of a land rush, right? A race to experiment with AI and cloud, all about speed. But now, well, the dust is starting to settle. And in boardrooms and on engineering teams, a totally different conversation is kicking off. It's way less about what's possible and a whole lot more about what's a good idea.
So yeah, that initial honeymoon phase is over. Now we're dealing with the reality check. The focus is shifting from what these incredible technologies can do to the long-term consequences of what we've already done. And that's forcing leaders everywhere to ask a really tough question. In our race to innovate, what on earth have we actually built?
And that really marks the first big shift we're seeing. That era of just pure unchecked experimentation, it's coming to a close. The whole conversation has grown up. It's moved on from simply asking what's possible to facing the very real consequences of the decisions we made back in that initial gold rush.
Just look at how the questions themselves are changing. Yesterday, it was all about speed, all about potential. How fast can we run experiments? What could AI even do for us? Today, the questions are so much harder and way more strategic. We're talking about who's ultimately accountable, where our most important data should actually live, and the big one, what happens if we have to fire our vendor? You know, this isn't just theory anymore. This is a reality that's being hammered out on the front lines every single day. The early adopters, the teams who actually rolled these systems out at scale, they are way past the hypotheticals. Now, they're the ones grappling with the messy operational fallout of the choices they made about infrastructure and governance a year or two ago.
So, how do you even begin to manage this new reality? Well, it all starts with governance. But, and this is a huge but, not just as an IT issue. This is now a fundamental organization-wide challenge.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? The tech, as complex as it is, often isn't the biggest hurdle. The truly difficult part, the part that keeps people up at night, is organizational. It's about getting an entire company aligned around a whole new way of making decisions and managing risk. And what that means is you can't just lock AI governance in an IT silo anymore. A modern governance team has to have everybody at the table. You need legal in the room, talking about regulatory exposure. You need compliance, making sure you're aligned with industry rules. Risk, figuring out potential liability. And this is key. The actual business units have to own the outcomes, with tech's job being to enable and integrate, not to dictate everything. And here's the big flashing warning sign. Trying to bolt on governance after a system is already deeply woven into your operations is an absolute nightmare. It's not just more expensive, it's unbelievably disruptive. This stuff has to be designed in from day one. Okay, so this brings us to a really critical idea for this new era, something we're calling the sovereignty trap. This is what happens when that obsession with short-term speed leads you right into a state of long-term dependency that you never ever intended. So what do we even mean by sovereignty? Look, it's not about building every single thing yourself. It's about maintaining strategic control. Do you have final say over your data, your key decisions? Can you actually predict and control your costs? And most importantly, do you have the flexibility in your architecture to pivot when you need to? That's sovereignty. And that just gets right to the core of the problem. A lot of leaders are realizing that their strategic freedom isn't lost somewhere in the code. It's lost in the fine print of the contract. Those data ownership clauses, the confusing pricing models, the terms that make it impossible to leave, that's where the trap is set. So here's a really powerful and kind of scary test you can use in your own organization. For each of your key tech vendors, ask this simple question. And if the answer is, I'm not sure, or even a slight hesitation, well, then your enterprise sovereignty is probably already in trouble. Okay, so we've spent some time laying out the problem. Now, let's talk about the solution. What we need is a playbook for control, a practical, no-nonsense framework for making smarter, more deliberate decisions from the very beginning. The number one rule of this playbook is to be pragmatic. Your goal isn't to build some theoretically perfect textbook architecture. The goal is to build something that actually works effectively within your messy real-world constraints. It's all about delivering business capability, period. Which brings us to the heart of the playbook, this 5-question sovereignty check. First, data. You have to ask, where does our data go? And I mean exactly where. Is it being used to train the vendor's models? Second, accountability. When an AI gets something wrong, who owns that decision? Third, Cost. What does that cost curve look like not just for the pilot, but at true enterprise scale? Fourth, portability. Can we actually move our workflows, or are they chained to some proprietary feature? And finally, number 5, exit. What is our exit plan? And is it even possible under our current contract? And let's be super clear about this. This framework isn't about slowing things down. It's the exact opposite. Good governance isn't bureaucracy that gets in the way. It's the set of guardrails that gives your teams the confidence to innovate quickly without accidentally building in some hidden long-term risk. And that brings us to our final big idea, what we call the deliberate advantage. In this new era, the real competitive edge doesn't come from just being fast. It comes from building for resilience and for long-term control. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Success in this next chapter of enterprise tech isn't going to go to the folks who just move the fastest. It's going to go to the ones who are disciplined, the ones who took the time to build the right foundations of governance, accountability, and sovereignty before they floored the accelerator. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a really hard look at the systems you're building today. Ask yourself honestly, is your architecture designed to evolve as your business and the market inevitably change? Or are you unintentionally entrenching yourself in decisions today that will trap you tomorrow?